one of the best colleges. NIET has placed and made a record placement of 1,750 people.
Join #1 ranked institute, NIET Greater Noida. Get future ready.
Hello everyone, I welcome you all to today's webinar on topic robotic process automation, and I hope everyone is doing great. My name is Dr. Priyanka Chandani from Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology. It is one of the premier engineering and management institutes of Uttar Pradesh, and we are the only institute in UP to be recognized by 3 ranking and accrediting government organizations. We are 6 program NB accredited, NAC A grade, and NIRF ranked in the band of 200 to 250. So dear participants, you all are a part of webinar series titled Career Series 2020 happening at NIT. The aim is to facilitate students to plan their career aspirations and goal in the light of current happenings in IT world. So before we start, before I introduce you to our speaker, I can tell you some householding items. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to write in the chat box, and we'll reserve some time towards the end of the presentation for these questions. I'm back again. Hello, Mr. Darshan.
Hi, thank you.
So we can start with your session. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Can you please confirm if you can hear me properly, and you can also see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. We can hear you properly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Let me begin by thanking the team of NIT for taking efforts in organizing this series of webinars, which is beneficial for the next generation millennials who are now looking to join engineering, pursue their career in engineering. And also would like to thank the management of NIT for having me here. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure for me to be a part of this series of webinars helping the next generation of the millennials and the talent and the next generation engineers. Let me just begin by, as you all know, we're going to speak about robotic process automation today, but just to set the context and clarify on the first step that there's a huge misconception that everybody has. The moment we hear about the word automation, what we think in general, or what people think in general, is that the notion general is that automation is going to take away jobs. Automation is going to hit the industry hard, and people are going to lose jobs, and robots are going to take away jobs. But it's not. And let me tell you why. If we go to few decades back, when there was industrialization coming in, or rather, if we just come back, uh, when computers were started using in the banking sector, people started thinking that everybody who is working in banks, the clerks, the managers, and everybody who are working in banks will lose jobs because computers will take away everything that's being done in a bank, and people will go jobless. But what we are seeing now is just amazing. There are lakhs and lakhs of people being employed by banks and being employed by IT organizations who build software, who build tools that are necessary to manage IT infrastructures. There are the softwares, the applications, and everything that's required in the whole ecosystem of the banking. So this is one such example where I need to, which is classic. And this also helps us clarify that automation is not taking away jobs. It's in turn is creating not a lot of jobs, lot of new jobs, but in a different area. Here in this case, people who were maintaining their documents, they maintaining their records manually on a ledger system in banking, were forced to move to computers because they were more efficient, they could gather more data, and we are at an era where we are able to transfer money or do anything that is required to bank sitting in any remotest place that you are in. So that's the evolution of technology, and that's the advantage, and that's the benefit that automation or banking or the software has given to this specific sector of banking. If we have to observe something, the people who used to work earlier in banks are still working. In fact, people are added up into the industry because there are a lot of hundreds of thousands of people who are now working on building these softwares. Again, proving the fact that automation is going to add jobs. All right. But one of the things that we need to notice here is that people who did all these things manually are now using computers, and computers are their partners. Computers are helping them in doing their task in more efficient way. Computers are helping them in managing their data, their records in a much easier, simpler way, and which is helping people to do more tasks in less number of time. If we have to take the same thing into this context of robotic process automation, one thing that we have to see similar here is that the skilling. Of course, yes, there might be very minute effect of something which has been taken away, but all we have to see is the number of opportunity that is being created. You can see one of the reports again here, which says that automation replaced 8 lakh workers, but then created 3.5 million net new jobs. That similarly, we have a report by World Economic Forum, which says that automation as an industry is going to create 58 million net new jobs in the next 5 years. If we come back to if we keep India into perspective, we have one more report which says that robotic process automation will generate 2 lakh jobs in India by 2021. That's just amazing for us to believe in. So here, one of the things that we need to look at is that it is not taking away jobs. It's actually creating more number of jobs than it's actually taking away, or the notion that we had, or what we listen from everybody outside listening when they are speaking about automation. One of the things that is very crucial and very important for us to notice here is that when it is creating job, it is very important for the people who are already in the industry, for the people who are trying to get into the industry, to look at is to skill themselves, upskill themselves on the relevant technologies which are actually changing, which is actually impacting the way we are actually working on a day-to-day basis. And this is not just for the ones who are actually trying to get into the industry, it is also for the ones who are already working in the industry. So what we have to see here is that people who are already working in the industry, there's a report by World Economic Forum again, which says that reskilling is so crucial, and about 54% of the employees who are already working in the industry need to reskill themselves on relevant technologies. And this is something which is very alarming for everybody. It is not just for the ones who are looking to join industry, it is also for the ones who are already working in the industry. One of the key things that we need to focus here is that I'm quoting all these examples is just to convey a message that skilling and learning, upskilling and reskilling is going to be a constant process for us until we are going to work. If we have to survive, if we have to work in the industry, no matter what, upskilling and reskilling and learning continuously is the key for us. What automation has done, what robotic process automation has done here. Before 2015, there was no term called as robotic process automation. It was in the year 2015 that RPA or robotic process automation was coined. And what RPA has done in the industry is that it has created the new set of career roles. It has created a new set of career paths which were non-existing before. We are now speaking about, of course, we had developers, we had analysts, we had users, we had business analysts, consultants, everybody in the industry. But what RPA has done is that we now require specialized set of skill set to be working in the space of RPA, and these are the new kind of jobs which are being created, which were non-existent before the emergence of the technology of robotic process automation. Today, because of the acceptance and the kind of growth that RPA as an industry has seen across the globe, we have now seen career paths which are unique, which are pretty new, which are being emerged, which require specialized skill in robotic process automation. Few of the examples are cited in my slide, where you can see RPA Developer, where a typical developer who used to be working on a specific language now require, if he or she can build a career on robotic process automation by learning RPA skills. And similarly, a consultant, an architect, a solution architect, a business analyst, and an infrastructure engineer who was required to manage the whole IT systems of this of this RPA center of excellence that IT companies deploy, or any of them deploy. Right. So one of the key things again is that RPA has grown so fast in the last 5 years that it has created an impact in thousands of lakhs of jobs, lakhs of people in the lives of people, because here these are the robots which are not taking away jobs of people, which are actually helping people in doing their task in better way. It is actually helping people in doing their task in a better way by applying the creativity and also focus on things which are important, which are where more human intervention is needed, which are more creative in nature, rather than doing things which are manual, mundane in nature. So in line with what I was telling about the skilling, today if we have to see the growth of the technology of robotic process automation and the opportunities that RPA has brought for us, this is one of the reports by LinkedIn, which is the emerging jobs report for India for 2020. If you can see, among the top 10 job profiles that we have in the industry right now, we have 2 of them are in the space of RPA itself. So this is also a testimony that there are enormous number of opportunities that are being created in the industry. It is just that we as an individual need right skill at this right time to just jump into the market and grab our opportunity to build our career in the space of robotic process automation. What is robotic process automation? We have heard, I told that reskilling is very important for us. Automation is not going to take away jobs. Automation is actually creating more jobs, and RPA is helping people in managing their task in better way and making people more efficient in what they are doing on a day-to-day basis. So what is robotic process automation? Robotic process automation, in layman terms, if I can say, is a technology where software robots are going to help humans in doing the task which a human being used to do on a repetitive basis, which are repetitive, standard, structured, mundane in nature, which is more like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and so on, which you do on a day-to-day basis, repetitive again and again, where you need not apply your intelligence, where you will not apply your creativity or any of your skills. You will just do things step 1, step 2, step 3 on a repetitive basis. This is actually making humans like a robot. and we are not. Our goal as an organization is to have a robot for every human, a robot for every person. These are not the robots which will go and replace whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis completely, but these are the robots which will help you in doing your task, which are more mundane, which are repetitive in nature, so that you can focus on things, you can focus on the jobs which are which require more of your creativity, more of your skills to look at. So I've spoken about reskilling as an industry, the reskilling for us, skilling for a student, and reskilling for the people who are already in the industry. We've spoken about the opportunity that the technology of robotic process automation is bringing in for people across, and the opportunities that we have in India for learn if we are learning and skilling ourselves on robotic process automation. And I represent UiPath, and UiPath is a leading RPA service provider across the globe. We are the leaders in the space of robotic process automation, and this is just some information about UiPath. UiPath is valued at $10 billion officially now, and we have raised about $1 billion of funding. And UiPath, you can see the companies the like Sequoia, Axel, Capital G, who are all investors who have invested in UiPath. And one of the key points that I would like to stress here is that we have 60 plus federal and local government bodies as customers who are using UiPath to make their processes efficient, to make their people focus on more creative things which are not repetitive in nature, and helping them free from the mundane and repetitive tasks that they would be doing. So what are the components of UiPath? We spoke about, I just gave an intro about RPA. What RPA does as a whole is to build a robot. A software robot is going to do the task what a human being does if it is structured, repetitive, and mundane in nature. And the three large components of this same are of UiPath are, we have the UiPath Studio, we have the UiPath Orchestrator, and we have UiPath Robot. I've told about RPA as a technology. Right now we are coming to the point, how can I build a robot? How can I build a software robot? So this is a place called UiPath Studio. This is a platform where you can build these software robots which can help you in doing your tasks which are repetitive and mundane in nature. And once, okay, so I install UiPath and I start learning, I start building the robot, and then you have activated, you have built one process and a robot which is actually helping you in doing certain tasks. Similarly, if there's an organization, they might have hundreds of processes, and they might also have hundreds of robots which will be taking up doing the tasks that are configured. We need a place where you centrally manage all those robots. In simple terms, you need a platform to manage the status of the robots. If the robots are running efficiently, if there is any bug in the robot, if there is any robot which has stopped, if you have to schedule a robot, if you have to basically do everything that is required to manage the robot, that is the place called UiPath Orchestrator. And when you run the processes that you have built, and that's what we call it as a UiPath robot. And these are the three large components within the UiPath. One is the UiPath Studio, where you design and you actually build your automations, and UiPath robots. These robots help you run your processes. All you have to do is to configure them, when they have to run, how they have to run, and everything. And then we have a place called UiPath Orchestrator, where you manage all the robots which are under production, which means all the robots which are running simultaneously at the point of time. You can maybe scheduling the robots or everything that is required in terms of managing your software robots are concerned. I'm just showing an idea about our UiPath Studio. This is the platform. This is how it looks like. I'm sure everybody would love to use UiPath platform because it is low code. All you have to do is to drag and drop the activities, and it has all the features that is required for you to help you in building your automation, in building your process, and building your software robot, which can help you in doing your tasks. Right, this is one simple example. You can just see how activities are being dragged and dropped, and you can see this, the user is not coding anything. It has very less coding because the platform is so intelligent, and we have so many activities and features which are loaded in the studio itself that you can just drag and drop and build your own automations by yourself. So we spoke about UiPath as a platform, we spoke about the orchestrator, we spoke about robots, we spoke about UiPath Studio, and we have also seen a glimpse of a UiPath Studio where a user is actually dragging and dropping various activities. And there's actually a lot of features which are part of UiPath Studio. And then comes robots, right? So I can say there are 4 types of robot. You can see the first one, these are us. If we are doing the task on a repetitive, mundane nature, which does not where you do not apply your intelligence or your skills or your creativity, you're just doing the things on repetitive basis, which does not have any intelligence. So you yourself are making a robot. That's what we have. The first one, we have said no robots helping you, but you yourself are doing everything. So you are becoming a robot, and if we unleash the robot in us, that's when we have the first type of robot that's called attended in tandem, where you are doing certain job and certain things which require more of an intelligence, where decision making and applying your creativity into the task and executing it. And simultaneously, there is a robot which is actually doing the same thing which used to do earlier, which was doing all the repetitive mundane tasks which you used to do earlier. So what happens here is that a user is also working parallelly on the creative stuff that he love to works on, and all the boring stuff which is mundane and repetitive is being taken care of by the robot. The next one is the hybrid robots, where the robot does all the tasks by itself, and whenever there is some information that is required by the user, the robot stops and comes to the user. That's what we call it as a human in loop. The robot comes to the user, asks for a decision, asks for the input, and once the user gives the input or gives his decision, the robot continues the execution. And third one is we have fully unattended robot. These are typically run on a virtual machines where you're just scheduling a robot on, say, for example, we do trainings. I do personally handle a lot of trainings, and when we do trainings to track the learning status of the people who are enrolled to the trainings, I have a bot which actually tracks the learning status of the people and keeps me updated on every Monday 5 a.m. Every Monday 5 a.m. I receive a report in an email with an attachment with the status of the learning of all those people who have enrolled to the training that we have actually scheduled. So this is an unattended bot where a bot actually goes and triggers at 5 a.m. on every Monday and runs and just picks up the report on the learning status of the people, and then sends an email with the Excel report to me. And this is totally unattended. So these are the various different types of robots. And then what can software robots do, right? Just to give a perspective, I have been telling about the robots, how it can help you. If you can see here, it can do pretty much everything that we do on the machine. So this is what we do on log into any application, move files and folders on folders, read and write data to the databases, scrape data from the website, extract content from the PDF and or emails, read emails, and take data, put it into Excel, make some calculations, and then save it in PDF. And it can also send an email to the people, and it can automatically check your email and check the attachments, extract the data from PDF, and it can also make calculations. And this is typically what we do on the machine if we are sitting on in front of a machine and working. And this is exactly how these robots can help us. If we are doing something very repetitive, very structured in nature, we can just build a robot using the UiPath platform, and these can actually do those kind of repetitive and the mundane stuff. Since we have all the millennials here who have who assume are 12th, who have just graduated from completed their 12th and are looking to pursue their career in engineering, I'll try to give an example which is going to be very close to you. Everybody might be using Facebook, and if we have to do as an individual, this is, I think, one of the simplest example where I might be doing it on a day-to-day basis. Everybody uses Facebook. They use open Facebook. Every day you get a notification that there are so and so having their birthdays today. Go and wish. So you can build, this is one of the simple tasks which we have been doing. We go to Facebook, log in, check whose birthday it is, and then go to their wall and post a message, or go to Messenger and text them a happy birthday. So this is something which is simple and repetitive, but yet we used to take 5 minutes of time every day. I'm just trying to build this example, thinking in the mind that you all will be able to relate to what and how a robot can be of use for you as an individual, if not at an enterprise level or at an organization level. As an individual, if you're looking at, you can build a robot which can at 12 a.m. every day go to log into Facebook and check your details, check all the details of whose birthdays are there on that particular day, and then go to Google, browse a beautiful message or an image, however you would like to configure it as, and then post it on their wall or write them a beautiful message on your behalf and wish them. This is something which we have been doing on a day-to-day basis, but a robot can do it by yourself without even having your intervention, nor as an individual at this point of time. Anything that can be automated will be either in finance, will be in supply chain or IT or HR or customer services. In finance, if I have to give an example, mostly let me give a typical banking example where we all might have applied for loans. And when we apply for a loan, the traditional way, we fill all the applications manually, sign it on, we do signatures, we attach all the documents required and go and submit it to the bank. What bank does is that on a typical process, they go check all the data of your IT records and the account details that you are going to provide, the ID proof that you have submitted. And what they do is go and check the score in the CIBIL or the credit score. Based on that, they will come back to you, and then a person will inform you that, okay, so and so, you are eligible for this purpose. Say for if it's an education loan that you're looking at, for the education loan that you're looking at, for your credit score, for your purpose of a loan that you're looking at, this is the amount that we can sanction. And this would typically take few days on a traditional systems for us to get an approval, to fill the application, to attach all the documents, submit it to them, and then they go verify all the documents and then come back to us and then sanction the loan or update the status or reject the loan, which typically takes few days or rather weeks. How RPA can help here is that if we are able to build a robot, and this is one of the classic example where a lot of banks have already applied and you're using. So once you submit all the documents, you can just go and submit all the documents online by you will just upload the scanned copy of the documents in a PDF or an image format, maybe your IT returns, your proof of document like an Aadhaar or anything, and the PAN record to get your CIBIL score and all the necessary other information, right? Once you update all this information, what a bank does, the software robot does is that it will scrape all the documents that you have uploaded, and then it goes and picks up the CIBIL score or the credit score from the relevant organizations, and using your PAN number or the IT records that you have given, and then according to the CIBIL score, it automatically comes back and checks the policies at the bank and for the purpose that you're looking at, and it says immediately that for the purpose that you're looking at and looking at all the documents that you have provided, the bank can sanction so and so amount of loan at this percentage of interest. So this is a classic example, and this can happen within few minutes. Something which used to take a lot of times like few days in a traditional way is being done within few minutes. And this is a classic example of how efficient systems and processes can become if we use automation. Again, it's not going to take away any of the jobs in the banking sector. It is only adding efficiency. It is only making people being more productive. It is only making a customer happy because he's going to get the loans immediately, or even if it is loan is rejected, he's going to get it informed within few minutes, and he doesn't wait for a week or few days. And similarly, if we have to look at a case in supply chain, if we are this is again one of the simple examples that I can give is that an organization can receive a lot of invoices and which are need to be tracked and verified, and the data has to be uploaded to the internal system, say maybe like an SAP. These reports can scan these invoices, scrape the data from the PDF that are received, verify the details, the date, the GST numbers, or whatever the information that are provided, and then upload it into the relevant places in your systems, like for example an SAP. Similarly, if I have to give an example in the space of IT, there'll be a lot of tasks that we can automate in the space of IT. But if I have to give a simple one, maybe a server monitoring. As you can see, these robots can help you monitor your servers in a better way, and if there is any glitch, if there is any downtime, the bot can immediately come back and help you in in informing that this is what the issue is, or if the issue is standard and which can be resolved, the bot can actually do it by its own. And similarly, we have something in the HR. So here we see a lot of use cases where from onboarding the employees to giving them access to various platforms when they are onboarding the employee, maybe in generating their offer letter, till giving them access to the various platforms that a company would be using. And also one of the largest use cases is generating payrolls and sending it to all the employees of the organization. And of course, in the customer services, largely in you're resetting the password requests that are received through email, the bot can just read the data and then pick up the relevant information, and help in updating the passwords in the database, and so on. So these are the typical examples which are in this space, in this space of finance, supply chain, IT, HR, and customer services. There are a lot of use cases in different domains. I've just tried to have few so that you understand and you connect to what we're speaking about, and you understand the benefits, how RPA is helping people in making their jobs efficient and making them work on things which are more creative. So we have spoken about skilling, we have spoken about reskilling, we have spoken about UiPath, we have spoken about the opportunity that RPA has brought. As I said, the technology which did not exist before. People used macros, of course, we had automation. Specifically, the term of RPA was coined in 2015. In very span of 5 years, the whole industry has evolved, and the kind of growth and the opportunity that has created across the globe is huge. And we have also seen various reports, including the emerging jobs report of LinkedIn for India, where we have two job roles. One is the RPA consultant, another one is the RPA developer or robotics engineer software. That's what it's mentioned in the report. So this is the impact. We have so much of opportunities outside lying in front of us for us to grab. All that we need to do is to reskill ourselves, just to skill ourselves at the right time and just go learn. And where can you learn UiPath? Say, for example, after hearing all this, you all will be now looking to learn robotic process automation, and then if you have to begin your career in the space or your journey in the space of robotic process automation, the first stop should be the UiPath Academy. So UiPath Academy is the platform which is open to learn. It is free, where anybody can go and just access all the courses from scratch, from the definition of what is robotic process automation till uh, till till the computer vision, till the advanced RPA, and everything that's required for us to start working on RPA and upskill ourselves on the technology of robotic process automation. And this is going to be a one-stop solution for you to learn RPA, which is free again, and then just go ahead and learn. And then we have our community forum. Again, you're learning RPA, you have started your journey, you have enrolled to academy.uipath.com, and you have started learning robotic process automation, and you find some doubts, you find one question where you're not able to understand by watching a video, and you have some glitch which you are facing when you are trying out to do the same exercise by your own. So community forum, which is forum.uipath.com, will actually help you in finding answers to your questions. And if the question is not answered already, we have people who will support you, the community who is going to support you by answering your question. And we have the UiPath Go, which is a marketplace which is open for everyone. If I have to give an example, it is like a Play Store for us. Whatever that I want to do, whichever apps that I want to do, have on my phone, I just go to Play Store or an App Store and just go and install and use. Similarly, when you are building your automations, when you're building your software robot to automate your processes, you can go to this place called UiPath Go and explore. If we already have components, if we already have components which are already built, which are reusable, which can just add value by saving your time, all you need to do is to download and just add it into the process which you're already trying to build on. So that's about the UiPath Academy, UiPath Forum, and UiPath Go. This is very important because this is UiPath Academy is going to be the first stop where you are going to learn robotic process automation, and this is potentially is going to be the first step in building your career in the space of robotic process automation. And what we are trying to do also from UiPath is that we're also trying to work with universities and the academy across the globe by collaborating with the idea where we're aiming to institutionalize the learning of robotic process automation by making and requesting universities and by collaborating with universities and by providing all the necessary curriculum, the pedagogy tools like software at free of cost for them to teach and learn, so that our students learn the right technology at the right time. We also thank NIET. We have already collaborated with NIET, and we're glad to know that NIET is going to offer RPA for all its students in this artificial intelligence and machine learning. And already there are students who have already started learning in the computer science degree, which is already existing, and it is very humbling and happy to know that all the students who will be enrolling to AI and ML will also be learning RPA as part of their course and curriculum going forward. So we have spoken largely, we have covered what RPA is, we have covered the industry of RPA, we have spoken about reskilling, we have spoken about skilling, we have spoken about the components of RPA, which are UiPath Studio, UiPath Robot, and then we have UiPath Orchestrator. And then we have spoken about the different roles like a consultant, like an RPA infrastructure engineer, RPA developer, RPA specifically all these roles, RPA business analyst, all these roles which need specialized skills in the space of robotic process automation itself, right? So and we've also spoken about how I can learn robotic process automation by my own, that is by going to UiPath Academy. And this is what, if you learn robotic process automation, if you learn the technology, and if you equip yourself with all the right skills at the right time, and these are the companies which can potentially be your employer where you can get your first job and build your career in the space of robotic process automation itself. You can find all the global brands, all the major companies here, including Accenture, EY, Cognizant, IBM, Deloitte, PwC, or Capgemini. We have every large company, Tech Mahindra, the Infosys, that we look at as a potential employer, like a dream company for us to work for, right? And you can just see every company who are all these are the partners and the customer base of UiPath who are using UiPath to automate their own processes and also to help their customer base in helping them in automating their processes. And you can see, if I can stress on, there is a logo of NASA. This is a highlight for us because NASA uses only UiPath to automate a lot of its processes internally in NASA. This is the testimony for UiPath as a company, for its security and the kind of applicability that UiPath provides, and the efficiency of our UiPath robots, I can say. And I'm just going to run through a small video for you to understand one of the examples of robotic process automation where you see a bot in action.
You are about to see a robot performing the following activities. Monitoring a dedicated folder where invoices are saved in PDF format. Reading invoices from that folder one by one. Extracting key information from the invoices. Opening SAP. Filling in invoice details in SAP. Sending email notifications. Please note that the robot will do some activities in the background, such as most of the invoice-related actions, monitoring a folder or checking its email address. Now let's see it working. Right now, it's monitoring a folder where 3 invoices are stored and collecting all the information needed so it can register them one by one. It then asks the tester to introduce the email address where the posting notification will be sent, and also performs basic checks to see if the SAP is open and runs it on its own if not. Logging into SAP using its credentials, it then starts processing the invoices one by one. We can see it filling in data such as vendor code, invoice date, invoice number, invoice amount, invoice description, and GL account, and ends up by filling the payment term. Following that, it registers the remaining 2 invoices in the assigned company code. An email containing the SAP registration number is sent automatically by the robot after successfully registering each invoice. Checking in the background, the robot verifies whether the VAT on the invoice matches the one in our database, and if so, will post it automatically. Otherwise, it will park it and send a dedicated email to the responsible person highlighting this difference and asking what to do. Post the invoice or to cancel it and send it back to the vendor. All the invoice's details are visible in the email it sends, so let's reply with yes to the message for an invoice with a VAT difference. Finally, it will check its email address in the background, access SAP using the appropriate transaction code, and post the invoice. And that's it. The robot has successfully posted the 3 invoices in SAP.
Right, that was a bot in action where you saw a bot doing scraping the data and then verifying the details, taking input, and also uploading the data of the invoices into the SAP system. I hope I was able to give some insight across the industry of robotic process automation, make you introduce into this technology of RPA, and introduce you to UiPath platform, the academy, and the career paths that you can build if you are building your career, and if you are looking at building your career in the space of robotic process automation. So that's it from my
You
side.
are about to see a
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much, the management and Dr. Priyanka, for this opportunity for me to be present here and addressing all of you. If you have any questions, you can, we are open. I think we can take some questions and I'll be very happy to answer those questions. And if you would like to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at the rate Basavadarshan GN on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Darshan. This has been such an interesting and informative talk. So getting to know about robotic process automation, which is talk of the town in this technology world, it is surely setting the future context strong and focused for us. So thank you so much for the knowledge shared today. We can take a few questions now.
Sure.
Okay, so one question that I'm going to take first is because you've spoken about skilling and reskilling already, but if you want to add something to this point, the questions that I'm getting is like what skills does the students need to focus on to gain knowledge in RPA in terms of technology?
Thank you so much. It's a wonderful question. If you are looking at to build your career, if you are looking at the two things, right? So one is, as a beginner, how can I learn RPA? What are the prerequisites for me to learn RPA? It does not require anything. All you have to know is you just need to know a computer, and you just need to know a bit of logical thinking. And if you have known, if you have studied any of the programming languages like C, it's an added advantage for you. And that's it. That's enough for you to begin to learn UiPath Studio, to learn robotic process automation. It is point number one. Second thing, if you are looking at building your career in the space of robotic process automation, building your, you know, so largely what I can say is RPA becomes the first step in the space of artificial intelligence. If you look at the job market, if you look at people who are aspiring to work in the space of artificial intelligence, RPA becomes the first step as which can help them to build their career largely into the space of artificial intelligence. RPA is a subset, I can say, which uses a lot of technologies where we say, for example, in the example that I quoted, and where you also saw the bot in action, the bot is actually scraping the data where we use OCR, which is also a subset of artificial intelligence. OCR is optical character recognition, where you actually read the documents and understand the data and then make use of it. So for someone who's actually looking to build this, so right, all you need to know is one programming language to start learning. But to build your career, it's always advised to learn Python, and it's always an added value for you to.
That looks so simple. Thank you. Okay, so another question is like, are there any limitations of RPA?
Limitations, yes, I can say a process which is not standardized, a process where you say which is not structured, which is totally unstructured, where everything that you want to do is a human input, where a human can only do, because every step it's very unique. And this is one of the largest I can say limitation, because unstructured data cannot be processed, where we have researchers going on, and we are also having companies invest in working on how we can process unstructured data, and how we can try and get them automate processes which are basically unstructured in nature. This is still work in progress, I can say.
Okay. Thanks for this answer. Another question would be, how is RPA solving COVID-19 disruptions in the industry?
Fantastic, amazing. We from UiPath were pretty. We were glad and amazed to partner with our partners, and we were able to build some use cases around COVID. One of them, which was used hugely, was when the lockdown was imposed in India. and government started issuing passes for the people who are in essential services, for the doctors who are in essential services, and all of them, and also for the ones who are looking to relocate to their natives. And there was large amount of requests coming in for passes. One of the classic use case that we have already built and which was used during this lockdown stage 1, stage 2 in India itself using UiPath was that we built robots which actually process these large lakhs of requests that used to come to get the passes so that they can go out and perform their essential duties. Maybe a doctor or a person who's actually into who's transporting the essential goods like food and etc. And this was one of the classic example which was where bots were able to help us in real time at this point of time.
Okay, thanks for the answer. This would be really helpful for understanding the clarity about the current scenario. Another question that I would like to take is, what are AI-powered technologies that can complement RPA?
As I said, there are a lot of RPA itself is a subset of artificial intelligence. We use a lot of technologies, within, say, for example, an OCR to scrape the data, and we have something called as computer vision, where you just go and on a virtual machine, the computer will be able to identify the fields, identify the data which is present there, and do the task. And similarly, we have something called as AI Fabric, which UiPath has built. If you are building a model of machine learning, you will now be able to execute the same using AI Fabric within UiPath. So there are a lot of, there are a lot of technologies like OCR, like reading the document, and the computer vision maybe, and which are all subsets of AI, and they complement each other, and that's how these robots works. And we're now looking at robots getting intelligent too.
That's right. I'm sure it has answered many similar kind of questions from our audience. So another question that I'm going to take would be, what are the popular RPA tools?
Of course, there are a lot of tools in the space of RPA. The first one is UiPath, because we have UiPath is valued at about $10+ billion, and the global leader. We have various reports suggesting the same, which was facts. There are multiple other companies which are in the same space as well. We have Blue Prism, we have Pegasystems, we have Crayon, we have Softmotive, we have Automation Anywhere. These are the companies which are into the space of robotic process automation. There are many other startups as well which are in the space of RPA, but these are the names which you would hear largely when you look at RPA as an industry.
Okay, great. One question I've just got on the social is like, is chatbot different from RPA?
Yes, it is different, but we now have capabilities in the UiPath platform where you will be able to integrate and build chatbots and integrate them within the automation, within the process. Of course, yes, it is.
Okay.
To be specific, it is different.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Darshan, how would you define a RPA developer?
Define an RPA developer. Interesting question, actually. So, let me tell you, there are, in the space of robotic process automation itself, people who are actually working. There are 3-4 roles that we are defining when we say that RPA largely, and also in the top 10 job roles that we saw, we have 2 of them. One among them is an RPA developer, other one is an RPA consultant. RPA developer is a person who actually understands the process, understands the whole process, the steps, what a human being is actually doing, or the traditional way of doing things that we have already been doing. And RPA developer is a person who actually is going to build a bot by using a platform like UiPath Studio, and then build a robot which can help people automate their process. He is, I can say, the person who converts the traditional systems into a into a software robot, and that's the magic that RPA developers can only do at this point of time.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Darshan, for answering so many questions for us today. So we are all grateful for your time, your effort you took to share this current advancement of technology and how promising this looks. I'm sure this session would have educated our students on a high level details, user-friendly UiPath Studio, UiPath robots, RPA components, career in RPA, and especially the bot in action video. Oh yes, the partner companies of UiPath, it's huge. So thanks for educating us on this. And I'm sure the students are inspired to follow RPA and the field of its application. Thank you. Thank you again for such a wonderful session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Priyanka and the whole team of NIET for having me here and organizing this webinar where I was able to connect to the large audience and talk to them. I hope it was useful, and thank you so much again. Keep learning, and that's the only thing that I can say. The whole intention here is that no technology can take away jobs. It's only us that we can lose our jobs if we are not learning constantly. Keep learning, that's the only message, and log on to UiPath Academy at academy.uipath.com. Start your journey of robotic process automation today, and looking forward to see you all in the community of UiPath going forward. Thank you so much, everyone. It's a pleasure addressing you all through this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So dear audience, I hope you all have enjoyed the session. We'll be sending you the webinar recordings along with the feedback links and the e-certificates as well. I would also like to update you that our next very interesting webinar of Career Series 2020 will happen on 28th August on topic data science, the art of possible. We'll be sharing the registration details soon. And thank you so much for all your questions, comments, participation. And don't forget to subscribe NIET on YouTube and Facebook. Hope to see you soon again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm from TCS.
I'm from Wipro.
From NIET.
Join #1 rank institute, NIET Greater Noida. Get future ready.